Hello Christine, and thank you very much for being our guest today on the Breakeven podcast. Can you just give me a background of what you actually do for Breakeven and how long you've been doing it?
Yeah, so I've been with you, 6, 7 years, something like that. And what do? I'm a bit like a lifer, spend a lot of my time in prisons, and I now deliver sort of group sessions for about 14 prisons across the east of England and Kent.
Fantastic. So, as I've always said to you, I'm very proud of the vast amount of people that Breakeven see across the criminal justice system. Many other organisations are always asking me how we managed to infiltrate so many prisons across the east of England and south. It's fantastic how we've managed to sort of, grow from the early days when we was just only literally seeing people in Lewes prison in Sussex many years ago. For others listening, please explain in your own words how Breakeven deliver gambling-related harms interventions in so many of these prisons. What is the magic formula, do you think? Why have we managed to infiltrate that system?
Okay, so, first of all, I was kind of lucky enough to fall into High Point. You'd already done most of the groundwork at High Point anyway, as you know. Yeah. So that was my starting point. And initially we were just doing one-to-ones with those that had manifested problems around gambling. Yeah. But what we noticed was, I'm not sure if you're aware, but HMPPS across the country have a drug strategy. Right. And that drug strategy only includes substance misuse and alcohol. There's no mention anywhere in the drug strategy for the country around gambling harms. Right. So this was something that was causing the prison's problems in identifying those that need our service, because the likes of the offender management units didn't know anything about our service. So if they did come across prisoners that needed help around gambling, they didn't know where to send them. So to cut a long story short, what we decided to do was to put together a 2-hour programme that we could deliver to groups of prisoners. And then on top of that, what we decided to do was to allow prisoners that manifested other types of addictive behaviour, whether that be substance misuse, whether that be alcohol, we allowed them into the groups as well. Doing that, the reason we did that was over the last sort of year or so, we've noticed that a lot of the men would talk about their substance or alcohol problems, but never really believe that their gambling was an issue. Yeah. And of course, we've always said this about gambling, it's the silent addiction, it's not a problem, everyone gambles, blah, blah, blah. But once we do these group sessions, we've then found that we've had a couple during the group sessions that have actually come forward afterwards and said, look, Kristen, I didn't realise, but actually my gambling was a problem. And then what we can do, following on from that group session, we can then follow up with those and do one-to-one sessions with them going forward. So that was the purpose really of doing the group sessions, to reach more people.
Fantastic. So when I say the magic formula, I know when I've spoken to other organisations, especially within the National Gambling Support Network, is actually getting into the prisons, being able to deliver group sessions or one-to-one sessions has always proved very difficult. So if there was a template, what do you think that template would be?
Well, working in prisons it's all about word of mouth. It's not like any other organisation where you can drop an email to someone or pick up the phone. It doesn't work like that. So I think the success that we had at High Point, and then the likes of our head of reducing and reoffending there, Steve Phillips, word of mouth got out, and then that's when it started growing legs, because they would bring it up at their regional meetings, and then we'd be contacted by other prisons, and really that's how it started to grow.
So it started to grow like that, but then you've managed to open, with other, some giving you some extra help, you've managed to open so many other doors in all them prisons we've mentioned at the start of this podcast. How is it about the relationships you form with people, and how do we manage to open the doors that sometimes things shut for other people?
I think it's all about building those relationships, really. A lot of my work, apart from just going in and delivering the programs to the prisoners, a lot of my work is networking. So, if ever I'm in a prison, I'll have a cup of tea with OMU, or I'll have a chat with the head of reducing or the head of drug strat. That is vital in order to, because the other thing with prisons is if you don't maintain that level of engagement, they'll forget about you. I mean, it's as simple as that. So it's a really, really important part of the job.
And for some of the people listening that wouldn't understand, because back in the day when I used to go to Lewis Prison delivering gambling harms interventions, just explain some of the things that can happen when you think you're actually going in to do a day's work in the prison.
It's very true. So first of all, the other thing that's really important about working in a prison is to have full HMPPS clearance and to be key trained, because the staff in prisons do not have the time to hold your hand and take you to the
And how
toilet.
easy is that to get that done?
It's fairly easy as long as you've been good children. You should get the prison clearance within a month or so, and then each prison will then follow up with a key training so that you can then draw keys and enter that prison at any time that
So then you can sort of become part of the team
100%.
rather than an outsider coming in where you have to wait for this and wait for that.
100%, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
100%, yeah.
So yeah, just going back to explain some of the things that can happen.
Yes, so a couple of things that have happened to me. I've got to the prison, walked up to the gate, and they've had what they call a stand-fast lockdown, which means that no one's going in and no one's coming out. And that's often due to, they've done a count of prisoners and the figures don't add up. Once I was actually locked inside a prison and couldn't get out. Not so nice. So these things do happen.
Right, you seem to have an unrivaled passion for working within the prison system. Can you tell me a bit more about that, and where does that come from?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I mean, I've been working in prisons for about 12 years now. I started off in Ireland, worked in some Irish prisons, doing some alternative to violence work, etc. I don't know is the short answer. I really, really enjoy the challenge of working with the men that are housed in prisons. Their stories are really interesting. I've always received nothing less than respect from them. So yeah, that's where my passion is. It's working with the prisoners, definitely.
Sure. Many people say leper can't change his spots. What would be your reaction to that question?
Yeah, absolutely not true at all. Across the years, I've worked with men that have been incarcerated for heinous crimes and received life sentences. I've worked with guys that are in for short terms. Every single one of them have the opportunity to rehabilitate. We all make mistakes. Unfortunately, some are more severe than others, but we all make mistakes. And absolutely there is space for these people to.
Fantastic, and that's great to hear. How and why do you feel it's important to deliver what we call the knowledge-based sessions?
Yeah, really important in prisons, because what we know, for example, the offender management unit tend not to refer to programs that aren't accredited. And as you know, our programme is accredited with the AQA for Unit Award Scheme to Level 1. And that was important so that they would refer in. But because the programme is very different to other services that support people around addiction, we felt that it was important that the staff in the prisons could see exactly what it was we were delivering to their cohort.
Yep.
And the easiest way to do that, of course, is deliver it to them in exactly the same way. So we've done that quite successfully across most of the prisons that we work in. That has proved, and that's really, I think, also helped to promote the service.
Yeah, so that sort of goes hand in hand with the question I said, how do we manage to open so many doors?
Yeah.
The fact we're providing this knowledge-based training in group sessions to actual prison staff, that makes them come more on board and realise what a problem, especially gambling, can be.
Yeah.
In 2024, we delivered over 2,000 sessions to prisoners. That's absolutely phenomenal. Can you see that growing in 2025?
Yeah, of course. Recently we've taken on Lewis Prison, which we weren't in before. We're also doing some work with probationers outside, still within the criminal justice system, but outside of prisons. Right. And I'd like to see that growing as well.
That's what you just said about working more in the community with probation. That's one of the things that I think we'd really like to see improve over the 2025. How do you think we can work in the community with the hundreds, if not thousands, of those who have been affected by a loved one's prison sentence due to gambling-related harms?
Yeah, I'd like to see more of that. When I deliver the group sessions in the prison, I do mention to the group that we offer that service. Yeah. we haven't really got that much back from that, but that's one way. But 100%, I think we need to be seeing more of that in the community. And I think that will come more from doing outside work with probationers than it will do with inside the prison.
So as I said, I'm really proud of how Breakeven have seemed to integrate the prison system, and we seem to have that magic formula and form the relationships. Has that ever been recognised by any of the prisons? And outside of what we do in prisons, you mentioned probation, is there anything else that we are doing or looking to do in 2025?
Okay, so, well, firstly, to answer your first question, yes. Breakeven awarded the Men's Community Partner Award by the Governor at High Point Prison for the work that we've carried out at High Point under Breakeven, which was really exciting. And in the community, we're now moving out towards, I'm working quite a bit at the moment with the Integrated Offender Management Team, so we deliver monthly across their Essex sites.
Wow.
We also deliver to probationers that are going through NACRO, and we deliver those 3 or 4 times a year on each site, which is Stevenage, St Albans, and also Ipswich and Bury St Edmunds.
That's really impressive, Christine. So our footprint within the criminal justice system really seems to be growing.
Absolutely, 100%.
If you or someone you know is affected by gambling-related harm, please call us on 01273 833 722 or visit our website www.breakeven.org.uk. Alternatively, please call the National Gambling Helpline on 0808 8020 133. Please ensure to like and subscribe to all our social media channels and keep this message out there. Thank you.